Welcome to Your Aha Life. I'm your host, Dr. Tonya Harris Cornelius. The Aha Life is a life of more joy, more purpose, and more fulfillment. Through these episodes, I will bring you stories of insight and inspiration to help you live the life that you dream about, the life that you are meant to live, your Aha Life. Enjoy the episode. Hi there, this is Tonya. Welcome back to Your Aha Life. I am solo today, and it's for a good reason. I wanted to squeeze in this episode between some other guests that I have coming on in the next couple of weeks or so. But I wanted to speak to you today, and I wanted to speak on a topic that's really just been close to my heart. And I think I have something I think might be helpful to you. So that's what I want to talk about this morning. It is morning for me. I woke up this morning very early with this topic on my mind. Actually, the November newsletter of Your Aha Life, as well as the blog post that I just finished and will be coming out in the next few days, is on a similar topic. Actually, this has been something that has really been circulating around in my head, you could say in my heart, in my spirit, and I want to talk about it this morning. The topic has been about beginning again, begin again. And initially, I started thinking about begin again. Wow, this is what these words have come to me because I'm a meditator. And when you meditate, and especially if you're, still somewhat of a novice, as I am, I've been meditating consistently probably for a little over 3 years. And, but when I first started, I would sit just for a few minutes even, and my brain, my mind would just be wandering all over the place. And I would think to myself, okay, I must not be doing this right. This isn't for me. I'm just too busy. My brain is too busy. And then I would hear the guide say, when your brain wanders or when it thinks, as it has been designed to do, don't judge it. Let the thoughts pass. Come back to your breath and begin again. And that was such a reassurance that, yes, I am doing this right. And yes, our mind is doing what it was designed to do. But really, meditation is about letting those thoughts pass. And just sometimes you're doing mindfulness meditation where you are focused on the thoughts that are circulating. But for the most part, you're letting those thoughts just pass so that you can create almost an emptiness, if you will, to really create an openness to receive whatever it is that you are desiring to receive in that meditation, whether it's some guidance, whether it's inner peace, whether it is to overcome some grief or get direction or whatever. So but the point is, this 2-word phrase, begin again, really started sticking out to me. And I said, wow, there's more to begin again than just, great words for your meditation practice. These are great words for your life. And so often, we are beginning again. We've had the last podcast I did, and one of my recent posts was really about going through change and transitions. And when we come to points of transition in our lives, there is an ending, and then there is this neutral zone, and then there is the new beginning. And the new beginning is just another way of saying, yeah, I'm ready to begin again. And so maybe it's just been a while now that I've been really focused on this word of beginnings and beginning again. And so the blog post I wrote was really about how to bounce back from failure, how to begin again after you have faced some level of adversity. And I'll share some of those points with you in shortly. But really, what this morning, what I woke up with was not so much that you are facing adversity. That will be in the blog post, and I'll share it with you, or facing a failure of some kind. This is just about an epiphany for life, an epiphany for your life. And so I have a couple of quotes, of course, because I love quotes. I have a couple of quotes that served as an inspiration for me. And again, I woke up with these and I want to share them with you now. So the first quote is by Abraham Maslow. And you probably know I do follow and do study, the self-actualization and his work in that on that topic. And he has a quote here that says, "One can choose to go back toward safety or forward toward growth." And for many of us, that's all we've heard. You can retreat to safety or you can move forward to growth. But I want to read this full quote to you now, and I'll start again. It says, "One can choose to go back towards safety or forward to growth. Growth must be chosen again and again. Fear must be overcome again and again." So that's one quote that served as inspiration for me. The second quote is by Unknown. Isn't it sometimes that the best quotes are like unknowns? And it's just people who didn't know that what they were saying was so profound that it will resonate so greatly with people. At least this quote has resonated with me. So I will read it, and I have posted it on my social sites, but here it goes. "There are things that we don't want to happen, but have to accept. Things we don't want to know, but have to learn. And people we can't live without, but have to let go." So, wow, that's kind of worth repeating again. I hope that you'll rewind and listen to that again. Both of these quotes are really about waking up and knowing within yourself that it is time for you to live your aha life. And that might sound cheesy to some. And of course, Tonya will say that because it's, her whole brand is around your aha life. But whatever you call it, even if you don't call it your aha life, this is an awakening. That's why I call it aha. This is an awakening that, as Maslow said, we can stay safe, but we won't grow. And we have to choose growth over and over and over again. And we must overcome the fear of moving outside of our comfort zones over and over and over again. Not just one time, but daily. Daily, we're choosing, or in a moment, even in a moment, when we're faced with a decision, we have a dilemma. We have to choose, like, are we going to move forward into growth, or are we going to retreat and do the same old thing that we've always done? And then the second quote really is about, it is about letting go, but it is also about accepting. This is a higher consciousness, honestly, when we learn to accept the things we cannot change, or just to accept ourselves and to accept others just as they are, and even to accept a situation that perhaps acceptance is the first form of change, honestly. is when we accept where we are. And it's not complacency. It's not saying, oh, I'm going to accept where I am and do nothing about it. That's what people who argue, oh, acceptance is, I don't want to just accept. They're missing the point of acceptance. Before you can even change a situation, before you can even change yourself in the direction that you want to, you have to accept where you are. And so this quote is about, there are certain things he said that I don't want to happen, but I have to accept. There are so many things in our lives that happen, and we ask why. Why did that have to happen? We can spin our wheels asking why, or we can accept that it did happen or it does have to happen. And if we accept that, then we position ourselves to move for growth, to move past it, to move on, and to even, most times, honestly, be the better for it. We will have learned something, we will have gained something, we will have become more spiritual about something. So just acceptance. The other part to this quote, there are things I don't want to know, but have to learn. Wow, that's a episode all by itself. But you think about that. What are some things that you maybe don't want to know, but that you've had to learn them, or you have to learn them in order for you to be your best self, in order for you to grow to your fullest potential? And then the thirdly is sometimes the hardest, and people we can't live without, but have to let go. So that could be significant others, could be other family members, could be friends, or even just acquaintances, groups that you've been a part of. What this all spells is that you are growing, you are awakening, you are becoming, yeah. And you're becoming into a higher level of consciousness in your life. You are becoming enlightened. And that's why I say that that's when you know you're ready to live your aha life. You're ready to live the life that you dream about, the life that you are meant to live. And deep down inside, you're meant to live it. But for so long, even when you've known it, say you've known it for a while, even when you've known it, you've just not been willing to learn certain things or give up certain things or people. And so you continue on. And I don't want to say that you're continuing on and what you're continuing on is a bad existence. And you know what? The funny thing is, it's probably not. That's what keeps us so complacent, is that I'm not talking about someone who is in a dire situation and they've hit rock bottom, and they know they have to change. They have more motivation to change because life is not going well for them at all. If that is you, then I'm so glad that you're listening to this, because you're absolutely ready to live your aha life. You're absolutely ready to live a life of more joy, more purpose, and more fulfillment. But I'm also speaking to those of you, even myself, those of us who live good lives, they're comfortable lives. We will stay in our comfort zones. That's the thing about the comfort zone. You stay there because it is comfortable. And but the thing about the comfort zone, as we know, is there's no growth in the comfort zone. The comfort zone is where you go where you might just need to chill for a moment. You might need to just relax, and it serves a purpose. But when you're ready to grow, when you're ready to get to your next level of greatness in your life and serve your purpose or purposes that are within your heart, you know that is what you are to do, then no, you can't stay in that comfort zone. You have to do what Abraham Maslow said. You have to choose growth, to move forward to growth, and that must be chosen again and again. And fear must be overcome again and again. So if that is you, if you're the person who's, you're living a good life, you're living a comfortable life, you have a job that, hey, it meets the bills or whatever, it doesn't matter if you are not really fulfilled in it, it meets the bills, but, deep down inside, there's this stirring. And that's what will happen. You can ignore it, and you can ignore it, you can ignore it. It'll go away for a while and then it comes back. It goes away for a while, it comes back. Believe me, I might sound preachy, and I don't want to sound preachy. So don't take it as I'm preaching, and don't take it as something that I've gone and read about, or I've gone and researched and now I'm spewing out research to you. This is lived experiences. Lived experiences. It's when, I'm speaking from experience that, I've always said, and I've shared this with many others, and if you are close to me, you probably have heard this for a while. You can have a dream in your heart. You can have a vision for your life in your heart, and it will come, and you don't do anything with it. It recedes for a while, but it will come back, and it will continue to come back again and again, because it's trying. The universe is trying with all of its might to help you to believe in yourself and to pursue the life that is available to you. And so that dream, that goal, that vision for your life, it will not go away completely until you do something with it. You have to either outright reject it and say, I refuse. I'm not going to live that life. I'm not going to make that decision. I'm not going to pursue that goal. Or you're going to do it. You're going to say, look, this is bigger than I am. I don't really know how I'm going to do it all, but I'm going to start moving in the direction of my dreams. And I'm going to believe that every step that I take is going to open up the way a little bit more. It's going to clear the fog, and I will be able to see my way clearly and accomplish this goal, this dream that has been sitting there in my heart. So I know I'm probably all over the place, and I hope this is resonating with you, but I just woke up with it on my heart to speak to you today about it's time. It's time for you to live your aha life. So you may be asking, well, how do I do that, Tonya? You're right. I know there is a bigger, fuller, richer life for me, and I have been comfortable. I have a good life, but it doesn't mean that I don't know that there's something even bigger and better, waiting for me. And this is not about being lacking contentment either. So, all these thoughts, and this is what's coming to me, right? All of these inner messages, the inner critic, even the naysayers will say, well, you have a good life. Why do you have to do all of that? Because it's not the life for them. In your heart that, when you're living, 60% of the life that you dream of living, 70% of the life you're dreaming, 80%. When there is a gap between where you are and where you want to be. The question is, will you be okay living the rest of your life with that gap? Or will you get to the end of your life and have regrets? Will you get to the end of your life and say, wow, I should have gone for it all. I should have pursued my goals and dreams with with reckless abandon, like just going for it and believing that you won't fall. And I'm going to talk about overcoming failure in a minute, but you won't fall beyond what you can get up again and again and again. And that's why, yeah, it is a begin again. So you know where that gap is, and if you're okay with that gap, then declare it. Say, I'm okay with the gap and I'm content. But what I'm saying to you is, I'm not saying you're not content. I'm saying you know there is more for you, and it could be more purpose. You could say, I know that I have a gift that I am withholding from the world. I know that I have knowledge and skills and passions and interests that are not being fully leveraged. And if that is you, then that's where I say you are ready. You are ready for your aha life. This is a life that is an awakened life. You have had an epiphany, perhaps a clear aha moment, or micro aha moments that have still gotten you to this point where you know that you have to move forward into growth and not retreat to safety. So if that's you, there are 4 questions that you're going to answer. And you can get help, but at the end of the day, these are your questions to answer. And they are the start. They're not the end all be all. They are the start. And you've heard me ask these questions before. If you read my work, if you follow me at all, these questions are not new. The first question is, who am I? Now, I know there's a lot of, philosophers out there, and maybe even some psychologists who say we can never fully know ourselves. Well, I don't know if that's true or not, but we can know ourselves better. And so the first question is, who am I? The first thing you're going to do is just get it out of the way. Write down every role that you have, but know that you are not your roles. Your roles are what you do. That's how you show up. That's how you enact who you are. It's not who you are. So, yes, I'm a mother. Yes, I'm a leader, a manager of a team. Yes, I am a teacher at heart. Yes, I'm a social activist. Those are some of my who am I's. But who are you? Who are you? That's the question. That's the first question you're going to answer. Who am I? And you're going to think about your attributes that you don't, they're not hats that you put on and take off. These are things like your attributes. I am a seeker. I am compassionate. I am um, I am a thinker. I am someone who um, loves to see other people grow and develop. I am um, I am an enlightened being. Wow. I am an enlightened being. I am a spirit living in a physical body, having an earthly experience. This might get a little woo woo for some people, but you know what? This is the first question. You're going to get down to the nitty gritty of who you are, your authentic self, authentic, authentic self. The second question, so you're going to do that. Now, one of the things you can do is you can ask people who are close to you in different capacities, people you work with, certainly your family, your closest friends. You can ask them, what are the qualities that they think about when they are describing who you are. You can receive all of that because that is sometimes we are exuding who we are and our essence. That's what it is. You're discovering and peeling back all the layers to get to your true essence. And sometimes it's the people around you that see that more clearly than you. But at the end of the day, all of these questions, at the end of the day, even when they tell you all these great things about, you know, how well you listen, a great organizer you are. I don't know what they're going to say, but I really encourage you to do that. At the end of the day, though, you have to accept, you have to decide what are those things that are uniquely you. And yeah, so that's the first question. The second question is, what are your core values? We operate from a set of values, whether we are conscious of it or not. So, being conscious is part of living this enlightened aha life. You're not living by default. You're not living, um, by happenstance or, yeah, unconscious, honestly. The aha life is you are enlightened and you're living from a higher level of consciousness. And so, knowing what matters most to you and being clear about those things, guess what that does? That helps you to know, align your thoughts. That helps you to know how to make better decisions because you're making decisions in alignment with what really matters to you. You know what to say yes to, and now you can unapologetically say no to those things that do not serve you, do not serve where you're going, does not serve the growth that you are embarking upon. So, knowing your core values. And there's an exercise you can do. You can, you know, you can um, you can email me at Tonya@yourahalife.com. I can send you a values worksheet that has 80 or so values on it, but you can also just Google it. You can Google, values and a list of values, whatever, or you can just do it yourself and say, what are the values that I think are pretty close to me, that really matter to me, and just list as many of them as you can think of. And then in your reflection and introspection, just start to narrow down. Not to say that those things go away, but they're not as close to you. They're not as closely tied to what you believe, to how you think, to the way you behave, and certainly the decisions that you make, because our thoughts and our values, they are the ones that guide us to our destiny. So getting down to your core values, and some say that's 5. That's what I usually say. Your top 5 values. Why? Because when we're making decisions, we don't always go through a whole list of 10 different things. But if there are 5 key values, what I call your innermost values, your core values, you can know right away when you're facing a dilemma, like, how does this, one of my values is personal growth. How does this help me to grow? How does this help others to grow? I know that right away, and it helps bring clarity to my decision making, clarity to my actions, clarity to what I'm thinking, clarity to my words even. So the second question is, what are my core values? The third question is really about what you have to offer. And these are, what are my gifts and talents? And you can throw in there my interests, my passions, my knowledge, learned skills and knowledge. Throw it all in there. And it's about what are you offering? So what are my gifts and talents? Your gifts and talents are these natural things that come natural to you, and the and is important, and you enjoy them. You want a life of more joy. So it's not like, someone is very detail oriented, right? They're naturally detail oriented, but they hate getting in the weeds. And so it feels like work to them to get. So you may have to use that to your advantage and leverage that natural talent that you have from time to time. But I'm talking about, what are your passions? What are your gifts and talents that actually bring you joy? I know several years ago I did Strengths Finders 2.0, and I really encourage you, if you've never done Strengths Finder, to get that book. And there's usually a code in the book. I mean, they may have advanced it now, and you could just go online. But there's usually a code in the book, and then you do go online and you take this assessment, and it spills out your top strengths, because the belief is that we can actually advance greater and have more positive energy by leveraging our strengths instead of working on our weaknesses or these things we're not good at. So whatever philosophy you have, some people say, well, I can't ignore what I'm not good at because that will help me to be better overall. I'm not here to debate that today. What I'm saying is, this third question is, what are my gifts and talents? What comes natural to me? And when I'm engaged in those things, I love it. I enjoy it. It doesn't feel like work or drudgery to me. What are those things? And doing that. And then the fourth question is, who am I here to serve? And you can replace that with, what cause am I here to serve? So people or groups of people, or a cause that you are passionate about, name it or name them. It could be more than one. And what are those things, and how are you leaning into those? So the idea is, by answering these 4 questions: who am I? What are my core values? What are my gifts and talents? And who am I here to serve, or what cause am I here to serve? You are creating the cornerstones of your aha life. And then you take that and you craft your aha life statement. It's kind of like your own mission statement, but it's deeper. It's more spiritual than just a mission statement. And I'm not downplaying mission statement, but it takes a little bit more, because you're incorporating. By the time you finish your aha life statement, you will see yourself in that statement. You will see who you are. You will see your values being played out. You will see your interest and your goals and your dreams and your passions and your gifts. And you will see, who is it and what is it that really lights you up, that you want to go make a difference. When you do that and you craft your aha life statement, then your goals, your dreams come from that. That's when you can have meaningful goals. A lot of our goals, honestly, are ego-driven goals. They are goals, I want to get promoted. That's good. I'm not downing that. You can have those goals as well, but know what they are. Know that those are ego goals. If you say, I want to get promoted because I want to have a greater influence in the decision making at my company, it's still kind of ego, but there is an altruistic element to it. You want to help make great decisions for your company. Just know that, part of that is your ego. part of that is, advancement, and that's okay. I mean, a lot of people that I speak to through your AHA Life are high achievers or achievement oriented people. So they want advancement. So there's no shame in that. There's no disgrace in that. That's good. But know when you are writing an ego driven goal versus these meaningful goals that are tied to your AHA life. Your AHA life most often is your goals and dreams are advancing yourself, but it is for the common good, it's for the greater good of others. So you're growing so that you make the world a better place in some way, or your corner of the world. So again, I will do a whole separate thing on goal setting and setting meaningful goals that are your AHA life goals. But that's what will happen. And so, because you can't just write your AHA life statement and then put it on a shelf, because that's just like these mission statements that's they are on the walls and you look at them, but are you living them? So your AHA life statement has to be a living, breathing document that you are actually living out. That's why immediately after writing your AHA life statement, I want you to set goals. I want you to set goals that align with that statement. If you've never done it before, if you've never said, wow, I've never approached my goal setting that way, I want you to do it, because when you start walking in your AHA life, then your AHA life becomes real to you. It becomes not this fancy slogan that Tonya has come up with or whatever. This is real to you. And that's what my purpose is. That's what my mission is. That's what my hopes and dreams are. My hopes and dreams are that you live a fulfilling life. It's something when your purpose is tied to helping other people, find their purpose, but that is what mine is. And so you only do that when you put it into action. And so I want you to do that. So before I close, I said that I would cover off a little bit of what I wrote in my blog post, and I really want you to read the blog post. But the blog post is more about how to begin again after encountering a failure, how to encounter adversity. And so this may speak to you as well, because the thing about our failures is that we somehow attach our own identity to a failure, as we are failures. Well, I love something, and I don't even know if I have it here in this document, but I love something that I heard that Marie Forleo said, and she was quoting someone else, but she said that failures are events. They're not personal characteristics. So people can't be failures. People can fail, but they can't be failures, because failure is an event. And if it's an event, that event comes and it goes. And the other thing that I'd like to say is that failures are a part of success. Sounds, you've heard it before, but it's true. Like, how many people do you know who have truly succeeded without encountering any failures, without encountering any setbacks? I just don't know anyone who has done that. So the quicker we accept that failure is a part of our success journey, the more we're like, okay, yeah, that just means I'm moving. That means I'm stretching outside my comfort zone. That means I'm on the move. I'm on my way. I'm on my way to accomplishing my goals and dreams. And these goals and dreams are bigger than I am. So it's perfectly understandable that I'm going to encounter some failures along the way. And that's okay. So when I do encounter those failures, I'm just going to begin again and this time more intelligently, like Henry Ford said. And in fact, I have a quote here from Henry Ford. Again, like I said, we take these quotes and we take the bite-sized nuggets of the quote, but they come out of something. There's a larger context from which this quote is coming. So we know the quote that says, failure is simply the opportunity to begin again, this time more intelligently. But it comes from a principle. Henry Ford established 4 principles for how he would run his organization, how he would go about his work. And this was the first of those 4 principles, and I'm going to read it. The principle is to have an absence of fear of the future or of veneration for the past. And I had to look up the word veneration. It's just this adoration of the past, this holding on to the past. So look it up. So have an absence of the fear of the future or of veneration for the past. So in other words, don't be afraid of the future, but don't be so in love with the past either, right? So he goes on to say, one who fears the future, who fears failure, limits his activities. It means that if you're so afraid of the future, of what the future can hold, you're so worried about whether you're going to be successful or not, that it paralyzes you from even starting. And that is sad. And he says, one who fears the future, who fears failure, limits his activities. And this is where the famous quote is now inserted. Failure is only the opportunity to begin again more intelligently. There is no disgrace in honest failure. There is disgrace in fearing to fail. What is past is useful only as it suggests ways and means for progress. So you see, like when we have these like one word or one sentence quotes or whatever, stop and ask, where did that quote come from? Because more than likely, there's a bigger story there, and it is so much more enlightening and so much more compelling and inspirational. And I hope that you found that was inspirational. But here are 6 things that I say that when you encounter a failure and you need to begin again, to regain your confidence, to begin again, here are things that you want to do. First, acknowledge your feelings. Failure hurts. Acknowledge that you acknowledge fear, acknowledge disappointment, acknowledge frustration, acknowledge that you have failed. Even say, hey, I failed at that. I failed before and I will fail again. And being able to say that and not hold any stigma to it or attachment to it, but accept it and then let go is part of this first thing. Acknowledge the grief, the disappointment, or the feelings of inadequacy that can impact your motivation. But the thing here to remember is if you never acknowledge it, then you can never deal with it honestly. So acknowledge that you have grief, acknowledge that you're disappointed so that you can say, look, I'm disappointed. So now what am I going to do about that? How am I going to move forward into growth? The second one is separate your personal identity from your failure. This is the Marie Forleo quote. You may have failed at something does not mean that you are a failure. That failure is an event. It's there for you to learn from it. It's there for you to leverage so that you can continue on, this time more smartly, more intelligently. Number 3, recognize and celebrate honest effort. So if you've done your best, that's your honest effort. And as Henry Ford said, there's no disgrace in that. There's nothing to be ashamed of. When you put forth your best effort at something, that is perfection. That is what you do. That is honest effort. Now also acknowledge if you have not put forth honest effort, because you can't wallow in grief and woe is me if you know deep down in your heart that you haven't even given it your all. Have you have you left a stone unturned? I mean, leave no stone unturned. Like, do what it takes to live the life that you dream about, to go pursue your goals. For some of you, you're pursuing your businesses. For those, some of you, you are pursuing a greater, bigger, more influential and meaningful life inside of your organization or corporate system. For some of you, you are pursuing a goal in that you want to go help in some humanitarian cause. You know, pursue it. Don't put forth honest effort. I don't want to get stuck there. Please read the blog post that accompanies this. The fourth one is distill lessons learned. Failure is a failure, remains a failure if you don't learn from it. If you don't pause to say, what am I to learn from this? What have I learned by failing that is useful to me now? That is a powerful question right there. And, when we fail, pausing to take that in, to experience whatever the failure has us to feel and experience, and then ask ourselves, then what did I learn from that? Because if you've learned from it, it's a stepping stone. If you don't learn from it, you're going to keep repeating it over and over and over again. And you will be hampered from reaching your goal. The fifth one is surround yourself with supportive people. In the quote that I started this out and I said, you got to let some people go, you're going to have to let some people go. Naysayers, you're leading a more enlightened life. You're moving out of a comfort zone. You are, elevating, leveling up, whatever we want to call it these days. You're living a more self-actualized life. And not everyone is there with you. So the people who journey with you to a certain point does not mean they will journey with you forever. They may have served their purpose. You may have served your purpose in their lives as well. It's not about one is better than the other. It's not that. It's that we are useful to one another. And there are times then when, you have exceeded that and it's time for you to move on, and it's time for you to let people go. Now, there are some things are evident for people who are naysayers, who put you down, who second guess your actions, who are abusive in any way. Get those people out of your life. Make that hard decision. Have the courage, which is a quality for living your aha life. You've got to have courage to live this life. And surrounding yourself with supportive people who, they don't have to believe in your dream the way you believe in it, but they believe in you. They're there to support you. They're there to encourage you. They're there to give you insight. Maybe it's a mentor. Maybe it's a family member, or a close friend, or even a business acquaintance who knows what you're doing, and they are supportive of it. You're going to need those people. We don't achieve anything by ourselves. So you do need a tribe. You do need a board of directors. You do need a village that is going to support you in living your aha life and accomplishing your goals and dreams. And then the sixth one is to begin again. If failure is going to lead to success, then you have to pick yourself up and continue on. So I started this podcast not even really knowing what I was going to say, but I knew that I was going to speak from the heart. When you wake up with something on your mind, that tells you right there, it's in you. You've just got to let it come out. And so there's so much more I could say, but I want to, I've already probably spoken quite a while now. But I do want to encourage you that if you've reached a point where you know that you can't stay where you are, you can't be complacent, you can't reside any longer inside your comfort zone, that there are things that you need to learn that you maybe didn't even want to know. Uh, there are things that happen that you have to accept, and there are people that you feel you can't live without, but you have to let them go. You're ready. You're ready. You're living an enlightened life. You're growing in your level of consciousness. And I would say continue on. And I'm going to end with the quote that I started with. One can choose to go back toward safety or forward toward growth. Growth must be chosen again and again. Fear must be overcome again and again. So that's it for today. Thank you so much for listening. I hope that this resonates with you, and I hope that this really inspires you. That I always say in your aha life, I want to give you stories of insight and inspiration. And I hope that today that's what you got. And if you did, please let me know. You can either email me at tonya@yourahalife.com. You can leave a review. If you're on Apple Podcasts, they have a review function. And once I put it on YouTube, you can certainly give it a thumbs up. And remember to subscribe to the channel, but also leave a comment. However you choose to reach out, if this has really meant something to you, and has really sparked your aha life inside of you, I'd love, love, love to know about it. But anyway, thank you so much for listening, and I'll be back soon with another episode of Your Aha Life. I wish you more joy, more purpose, and more fulfillment. I wish you your aha life. Thank you for watching. I'm Dr. Tonya Harris Cornelius. Come back again in another couple of weeks for a brand new episode. Hit the subscribe button, and I'll see you soon.